It is very common for recently retired people to feel a bit lost, especially after working for decades and then suddenly stopping that routine. The lack of social connection that comes with leaving a big part of your life can even lead to cases of depression, anxiety and other mood disorders. However, one way to beat such social isolation can be through volunteering. Volunteering is a great way to stay active and engaged, as it allows one to use their skills to help others while also giving retirees the opportunity to meet new people and make a difference in their communities. Madam Eunice Ngure retired from active employment in the year 2021 after working as a teacher for 40 years. Immediately after her retirement, she joined an NGO called Education Development Trust, where she worked in various schools located in Kenya's informal settlements. Later, after her contract elapsed, she volunteered to work as a teacher at a neighboring Kiboko Junior Secondary School in Thika, Kenya. Mrs. Ngure says that her decision was driven by her passion in teaching and the urge to give back to the community.
Write it on this side. So we are writing to our cousins. So this is where we will have dear Cecilia. Dear Cecilia. Not. Dear begins with a capital letter. D. Okay? Yes. And then Cecilia, because it is a proper noun, it begins with a capital letter. And then after the name,
Join us now as she narrates her story as a teacher and her journey into retirement and volunteer work.
My name is Eunice Ngure, and I am a teacher, professionally trained. And I've done a bachelor's in education, English and literature in English. I have a diploma in education where I studied English, literature, CRE, and PE. I've done a master's in arts, English, and linguistics. I'm currently doing a PhD in English and linguistics from Moi University. I'm hoping to graduate very soon, very soon. I have been a teacher from 1981. 1981, I was employed as an untrained teacher by the Teacher Service Commission. After that, I went to college and I went back to teach. And I have taught in 4 schools in Kenya. That is High School for the Blind, Thika, Gatanga, CCM, Chania High School, which was split into 2 schools, Chania Boys and Chania Girls. I went to Chania Girls side. And then after that, I went to Moi Forces Academy in Nairobi. That is a school where the children of the armed forces officers learn from. And I retired from there on June 30th, 2021. I did not retire. For me, it was moving from one station to another, because I continued working with an NGO called Education Development Trust, and I worked with them as a literacy lead, where I was involved in promoting the teaching of English in the schools which were under their project until March this year. Education Development Trust, it was involved in Kenya with girl child education. And I was involved in implementing the literacy program. the teaching of English in 8 counties in Kenya. But still, even after the contract came to an end, I continued working because I had started to volunteer in this school, Kiboko Junior Secondary School, where I am a volunteer teacher to date. 2, this school serves students from the informal settlement in Thika. That is Madharau, Umoja, Keganjo, Kiandutu. And as I worked for Education Development Trust, we had schools in the informal settlements. So I acquired a lot of skills on how to handle girls specifically, and also the other learners who are in the informal settlements. So my services, the skills that I learned with Education Development Trust, I'm practicing them here. I am under the leadership of this head teacher. And I am like any other teacher employed by the TSC. 1, I wrote a letter to the Teachers Service Commission through the head teacher, informing them I would like to volunteer. So it is official. When I come in, I have to sign in like any other teacher. I have to prepare my lesson plans, my lesson notes. I have to assess the learners. I have to be assessed in class, the lesson observation, like any other teacher. And the head teacher is opening TPAD for me. Yes. So I am like any other teacher employed by the TSC. The only thing which has changed is employed to volunteer. That's the only change. I sign in and sign out. Okay? I attend staff meetings, staff briefs, everything. I arrive at 8 like any other teacher. The only difference, a bit of difference, is that because I have another commitment, so I do not stay the full day up to 5. Yes.
Mrs. Ngure notes that retirement is not the end of life and people should plan for their retirement from the first day they get employed. She urges Kenyans, especially the young people, to embrace the idea of volunteering as it exposes them to the much coveted experience that is sought by employers during job recruitments.
When you retire, you are used to a routine, waking up, moving from your home to work as a teacher, going to class, you are programmed. When you retire and you stop immediately, there is a lot of danger in that. You can sink into a depression. And you can even get some of the diseases which come with a change of, lifestyle. They should get something to do. They should not be idle. That's the first thing. And you should prepare for your retirement from the day you are employed. That's when you start planning for your retirement. Know that on this date I will retire, but my life will continue, or it will take this direction. So whatever you will transition to, plan for it from the time you are employed. That is for the newly employed and those who are in employment. For the retirees, I urge them, those who are idle at home, get to the next school, the nearest school, and volunteer. Be active so that you may not fall into a depression. Being a volunteer is something that our Kenyans should embrace, because one, you practice the skills you have. Then Kenyans don't volunteer because they are not being paid any allowance. But as you volunteer, you are still practicing your skills. And when you do your work very well, wherever you are volunteering, whoever is your boss will recommend you for employment there or to another employer. Many employers ask the young people for experience. They should volunteer. Voluntary service gives you experience for the job you want to do in life. So when you present your CV and you have that voluntary service, it shows that you have the experience. Another thing is I urge teachers to learn, go back to school, acquire new skills. If you are a diploma, go for the degree. If you have a degree, go for master's, PhD. Every time you learn, you go back to school, you get new skills. The CBC, for example, the learners are trained to acquire skills to help them in their life, and also not only in Kenya, but globally. They are being trained to be global citizens. And the skills they acquire from the word go when they join school, they are skills that even if they were to go up to grade 6, their life would be different because of the skills to be self-reliant. Self-reliant. They have a broad mind. Their minds have been widened, that they do not think just of following the education line to the end and get employed at the end. They acquire skills at every stage of their lives so that they can become independent. And that is why, even after grade 6, they can go to the village polytechnics. And from there, they can do courses like wiring, plumbing, dressmaking, become independent in their own businesses. So education is not only to go through the education line to get employed at the end. No,